stopping the mind. Stopping the mind. As I deep breathe from my diaphragm and belly into my chest, I release. Diaphragm, chest, breathe. Diaphragm's the tummy, so you pulling in. It should sound like, and then chest, breathe. There's so much going on within us and within the world, within your life, that sometimes is hard to stop the mind from thinking. With so much to process that's coming at us faster than we can process. That is one reason why you want to get off your cell phones, because we are feeding you continuously with information. And this information is processed by our brains. Our brain is the filter. Consciousness is the source. We have to stop the information when we rest and sleep. That's one of the main reasons why the brain has to take a break. It's like a microprocessor. The microprocessor is the hub in which everything is directed, like on a computer. The computer is it's a device that we use that we pulled out of our brain, out of consciousness, using physics and science and engineering, but it still is from the metaphysics, because we first had to ask the question, is it true? Is it true? Is it true? Is it true that the plants that are on this planet are here as part of the source of life? Everywhere we look, we will see and learn life. You have the grandest abilities to unlock unlimited potential in who you are through creative consciousness. I'm not a spiritual teacher. I am a metaphysical researcher. The mystics, even when you look in the case of religion, as I said before, the three Abrahamic faiths, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Technically, it probably should go Judaism, Christianity, Islam, in the sense of how in the years and they came about. But before Judaism, you still have other mystic, esoteric religions. Hermes, Hindu, Buddhism. Depending on where you land on the planet is what end up being the belief system in which you might have acquired. The brain is like a sponge, pre-programmed to do what it does. But along the way, you begin to develop filters, constructs. Some constructs are fundamental. The man and the woman can fundamentally come together as a species and have another human being, and we recycle necessarily. What would we do with the planet if no one ever died? It's painful for humans to experience possibly the death of someone, not the transition of life in itself. We all will do that, and we are embracing for that. Everything we're doing, we're embracing for the moment to go back to the oneness, or to feel the oneness, or to know the oneness, the entrapment of these bodies. The three Abrahamic faiths predominantly are the centralized programming in which most human beings on the planet Earth here in 2024, the day of October the 21st, we have modern technology, as you see here, but how modern is it whenever I'm speaking in the present time, which could be 2030, 2126, 2100. Be really interesting to know that this video has been viewed 1,000 years later. That's really cool. Yeah. It's the transition, the state of time and being, and allow the individual people to yet explore more of their infinite self, the authentic or the divine self, something we were all programmed to do, and that's love. Although these filters can have different ways of viewing the existence of our planet, one thing for sure is we are expanding, in the sense that the minds and how people believe is changing, like the three Abrahamic faiths. It is now due time that we begin to move and progress towards, or possibly rethink, a lot of our belief systems. The power of the three Abrahamic faiths is that the way we believe is the way we live, and the way we live is with the idea that what we believe is true. And not only is it true, but it can also determine on how we work with other human beings on the planet. We read about wars and rumors of wars in the esoteric texts such as the Bible. Numerous other texts may concur. And that's just merely history repeating on itself, not necessarily something that we can read into as being the roadmap to the future. That's been not proven numerous times over. But I believe we can understand within our own era, day and time, that we have the greater ability to foresee or create in the relationship to the future. It's now time that we be conscious about consciousness itself. When we can understand and realize that our thoughts create things, we are divine once we realize and understand that the people that have lived before us are a witness, like the three Abrahamic faiths, to what can happen when we begin to believe the wrong thing. We believed one time it was okay to do things to other humans and consider them animals when they were humans. Conquered, destroy, living like animals, in which we are. But as the ones on the planet that have the ability to change their way and need to, or have to change the way in which they survive the planet, we ultimately have to survive the planet within each other because of love and not realizing, understanding the oneness. We've danced around it with lots of different talks and lots of different experiences and expressions, and that has been through religion. And religion shall carry on. But we have to understand that if we're being conscious about consciousness itself, it's no different than if we become oneness and love, but intelligent also, and become more acting like the source of life, because we are connected to the source of life. Some of us refer to that as God. God has to become within a man or human, the species, in order for us to understand that we've already done that and we already are doing it. We believe we hear from God or we know God. We believe that we sometimes are some level of God, in which we are. But back to that later. Because you have to redefine what God is in order to understand what concept and terms I'm thinking about God as a creator. I'm creating a video. You're watching it. It's broadcast to all the world. I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on my back porch. And it's broadcast throughout the world. You know, we have these big cathedrals and buildings and things from like the three Abrahamic faiths, and we have capitalism and, you know, and people give and all this big conundrum of very unique things that can be very profound in displaying, relaying, dictating a message to people and making them people believe what you have to say, so you can keep that same wheel going, and so you can go buy some food and groceries and help change lives and whatsoever, and feel like you're changing lives. And I believe that a lot of churches are changing lives to a degree. I believe Islam and Judaism may have some of those things going on too, especially if you get into the mysticals. I would call them mysticals, you know, so the Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, Sunni, Sufi, which is Islam. That's their mystics. Kabbalah is the mystics for the Judaism, and the Gnostic Gospels are mystic, right? They find them later. It relates to the Christ story. Most people do believe in the Christ within. That's how you'll sometimes hear people say Christ consciousness. I love Christ consciousness because Christ consciousness relates to the mystical, the Gnostic, of which we do all what we do. I believe I have the ability to foresee and see what we do because you see a lot of history within the way I grew up in the African American church. Church of God in Christ. Very profound in the sense of what it has done in the American history, American Black history. The Church of God in Christ, founded by C.H. Mason, a man that I believe definitely was connected to hoodoo and African spiritualism. You can see it in the pictures. It was just a different way of believing. It comes from their history, Africa. And he was very talented, powerful, and using mystics and using things from their past spiritually that was a lot less limited in how we control how a person believes and because we want to limit the power in which you believe. We want to limit the power and give the power only to a very few people because of fear, guilt, and shame, right? And so in the evils that people can do in the world, right? But, the pitchfork evil we know is very much not true. You can find some Bilianchis or whatever. You can find some crazy ass people out there. And they could be all kinds of people from all kind of different backgrounds and belief systems. But we do understand that certain belief systems can get you into a good space, but also limit you into who you truly are, or also guide you or direct you into a path of hate. Pretty simple to do that. And disguise itself as love. Beyond belief is what I really love to say, do beyond belief. I like for people to go beyond their belief systems in terms of just saying, let me just be a philosopher at this moment, or let me just be an open thinker, a mystic for this moment. Let me be a metaphysician, not from the space when we think of a metaphysician as a New Age kind of way. There is a quote place that a lot of people go, and that is New Age. And in the church, everything outside of the church is New Age. I understand that, because when you're locked into your brain and you look and you feel and you know the way a brain works, it's going to repeat and like to keep the same thing, and it's going to have fear, guilt, and shame. It's going to lock itself in. We're going to do everything possible to try to break out of that. And then as we try to break out of that, especially using religion, other people within those religions still come and attack you, just like they did Carlton Pearson. They still come and attack you and say, no, that's not the way. No, that's not the way. And get everybody else that's not doing that out of the way, because that's not the way. I had the way. And we don't ever think or we can't really understand, through history, we've been doing that. God was the one that enslaved people. God was the one that did all kind of stuff to people. Am I right or wrong? Believe what you believe. Yes. What time is your lunch, Jacob? Yes. Send me $10 or something on Cash App if you got it. Send me $10 or something on Cash App if you got it. All right. Remember to pause. There's interruptions and things that happen in life, and not only interruptions, but there's also distractions. We all deal with distractions. Belief, beyond belief. There's so much that it's painted into the world to believe until we find out that that belief was wrong. Like, let's say smoking. It was believed, and we actually believed it, that it was okay to smoke. And we put it in TV commercials. So when you think about belief systems, when it comes to religion, but yet though we were at one time believed that it was okay to smoke because it was sold to us, what else is being sold to us? The only reason why we were able to change the way we thought or think or the way we would operate with cigarettes is because we have this thing called science, and the science began to come out that these people were actually putting chemicals inside the cigarettes to get you more addicted because they were able to make more money. Come to find out, the chemicals that they were putting inside those cigarettes was causing major cancer. Major cancer. I've lost family because I believe, I know there's some from cigarette smoke or smoking cigarettes way back in 48. So we find out and we understand that what these practices of these businesses were doing, which they didn't necessarily research and everything, evidently not, or once they found out that this was causing cancer, they just really didn't care. They didn't care. That's what the power and the energy of money on this planet can do, and it's doing. So when you have your church, I love seeing the squirrels and hearing the squirrels. I love the great outdoors more than ever now. I feel the source and energy, and it helps me deliver to you and fuck. Beautiful. In order to deliver to you, I have to come back. Sometimes I get these distractions because I'm downloading. Breathe in your stomach, in your chest. Tapped in, tuned in, turned on. That's the name of this song. Oh, man. Information coming at us so much beyond belief. I'm getting back. Right? Information coming at us beyond belief. Going beyond belief. Looking at beliefs. The Abrahamic systems. The Abrahamic faiths. Right? What you believe. Cigarettes. Cancer. They sold it to us. They sold it to us. I was a kid during that era, but there are a lot of people that were 40 years old during that era, and they smoked, and they thought it was healthy because they heard it from the doctor. The doctor would smoke, and they said it was healthy. Imagine the stories if we just talking about over the last 60 years, 70 years, 50 to 100 years. In 50 to 100 years, that is, I'm 48. So that's in my lifetime. Within my lifetime, we have learned things that we were saying was right and okay, and it was wrong. Been dealing with that. Slavery was one of those things. It was totally wrong. But the consciousness and how we weren't conscious about consciousness itself. We're conscious that we create computers because all we're doing to create computers is taking what's inside of us and bringing those ideas and those concepts out to make a difference on the planet. I'm using the technology to speak to you, to hopefully raise the vibration of you, to raise the intuition and the notion to understand that you are a super humanity. We're bringing it on. Humanity gets better, But let's fast forward and get better faster. Let's get better faster. And we could get better faster by being consciousness about consciousness itself and understand our belief systems throughout the whole world is what is controlling most things. And if you could reach the person on a belief system level, you believe that cigarettes are good for you, then a lot of people is going to hear that consciousness, feel it, understand it only to the point that that's what's been going on. We're not consciousness about consciousness itself. So the things when it comes to religion are being sold according to history, according to belief, according to some morality, some ethics, and some ways of being. And it's been happening for centuries. Christianity has been happening for centuries. Islam has been happening for centuries. Judaism has been happening for centuries. And if we don't be consciousness about consciousness itself, and we begin to move ourselves into the future, in order for us to actually survive the planet as a species, we have to change. And we are changing. And we are becoming. Because you can research and you can listen to me without getting in trouble. There was once a time that you could not have free thought. You couldn't go out and begin to think or say something in regards to the planet. If I said something related to the planet as a researcher or philosopher, and I'm looking at the stars and I say, I believe the moon, that's what we have decided it is called, is a rock that rotates with Earth versus around Earth. There was a time we didn't understand how the universe worked. We know more about the universe now in the sense of how it may work and how we can use it than we did thousands of years ago. They still were able to do certain things that were amazing. That's what the reason why we have Earth today. In this context is because we become more innovative over time, right? We become more connected over time. There is disconnect, but we become more connected over time. Now time is sped up and we have to become more connected quicker. And we are. That's the reason why you're listening to me. Hands down. Your belief system matters. What you believe about you matters. What you believe about other people matters. If everyone outside of you is a devil and you have none yourself, that might be a problem. Why? It's because you have to realize and understand that you are human. And human beings are a part of the planet as a species that has been able to survive the planet and its existence, its life, by understanding there's understanding and doing things very pleasurable. Being able to be in environments that are good for us. Being able to connect to the experience of being human. Being able to be free in our ways of thinking, speaking, becoming, and not hurting each other in a very nasty way, which we have in the past. We've hurt each other very bad in the past, and we will continue to do some of those things because some of those things that are still innate in a species, especially when it comes to owning and controlling and being able to be in power because of the ego within the human. very powerful, very needed. It's one thing that helped us survive is our ego instinct. And it's not a bad thing. It's part of it. We have to understand that it's a part of it. Ego is the life force on the planet. And outside of the ego is consciousness, and they work in tandem. The ego works in tandem with consciousness. It's a part of it. Do we lose the ego as we transition? The ego comes with the body. It's the reason why it doesn't want to die. People do it and we just don't understand it. But the more we live, the more we begin to understand it, the more we can research it. Paranormal was something that you weren't allowed to research, and it's still hard to research. Afterlife, life, afterlife, death, and try to get as close as we can to understanding outside of life and death, right? For centuries, we've been telling everyone through the religious belief systems that this is what happens and we have to believe it. But if we just take that same message back hundreds of years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, if it changes, we have had one centralized within certain faiths. Christianity on the Western side has always been committed to hell. Christianity on the Eastern side has not always been committed to hell. Which is it, folks? It's going to be the one that you want. But the one that you want can help you live on this planet gracefully, peacefully. It can actually tap you in and tune you into the divine, and you begin to pull out of the damnation in which people believe just because it's damnation's on the planet. Damnation's in the ego. Life and love, or love, not even life, but pure love is pure consciousness, which is a part of you. It is the most drastic confrontation within us, is the love within us and the ego within us, and the survival of the planet, and knowing we are divinely connected to source, and we are still a part of source, and part of us that is still alive now. We feel it and know that when we transition, we can feel the beauty, because people are kind of going through that through near-death experiences, through plant-based ayahuasca type of things, psilocybin, and even cannabis. And there's some other natural chemicals, but there's even some synthetics, if you will, that we already use, like ketamine. We use that for anesthesia, and we know that we are able to keep you alive, but yet though we're able to put you unconscious. So we're able to play with consciousness from an ego level and the body level. In order for us to operate on a person, cut them open, we have to take away certain levels of consciousness. Folks, we're closer, we're very close to understanding consciousness when it comes to the difference between being alive, being dead, and being conscious, to the sense that you are able to care for yourself on the planet. You're able to take care of yourself through the ego. The ego can help. The ego is the main part that can destroy other people. The ego is the part that keeps us alive and vitality. The ego is what makes us want to have sex, pleasure, right? Drinking some good water, having a great conversation. Those are the joys and beauties of the earth and the planet as we experience earth, right? As a part of the species we call humans. One of the things that humans can do is we can actually help preserve, and we can help experience the planet equally in some kind of way that is not hell. and we cause and wreak havoc and cause hell on other people based on our belief systems. But the time has come that the people that want to have dominion over other people and take their lands, or people, that's a lot of land grab right now up across the world. It's not a biblical prophecy coming to fruition in my point of view. Thank you for giving me my ability to claim and have my point of view. Chastise it if you want to. They did, the philosophers, and whenever they said something about the planet and people had the power to kill, that comes from your faith system. No matter which one it is, it comes from your faith system. When your faith system had so much damn power that you were able to control the people that even tried to think, you controlled science. And you wouldn't even let people think when you think about the history of those faith systems. Then it changed. There was a mystical moment, right? And even it had its own dogmas. Dogmas are ideologies that are so deeply entrenched into the human psyche that you are willing to almost kill. And we finally come to the realization that's not right. But you're willing to kill for people to believe your dogma. That's where we come from, folks. And if you didn't believe that dogma, I'm not preaching a dogma. I'm preaching, teaching, speaking, pontificating words, ideas, concepts, freely speaking levels of consciousness without all the woo-woo. The woo-woo of thought and saying that this esoteric thing is how this works, and if you do this, then I believe in some of it. But the thing is like, I'm not telling everyone else that they need to. That's your choice. That's modality for your spirituality. Spirituality, as people talk about God, is very cool and fun. I'm more of a philosopher who dabbles in spirituality and religion, self-proclaimed philosopher. As I study a lot of the other philosophers, but versus studying the other philosophers, I like to just philosophize myself and ask the questions on the planet that some people are not willing to ask. Understand some things on the planet, even if it doesn't necessarily fit. I've come to a point where I just want to seek to understand, but also to be understood. When I think about all the different things of the way in which the way we believe, understand this about belief. Understand this. There's your beliefs, my beliefs. But then there is levels of truth. And I say levels because truth is something that becomes known over time when we begin to understand and we begin to be the next level of conscious and aware on how this may affect us as a planet. COVID recently was something that shook up our planet. We can go deep dive into how, why, what, when. We can develop beautiful conspiracies, beautiful stories. But when the moment comes down to it, there will always be some level of foul play as long as we have certain levels of the ego that is not connected to love. And I believe that is just a matter of time that we get stronger and stronger into understanding that we can have all of this development, we can have all the crazy pleasure the world offers and the experience that can be offered. But if we don't have love, I have a dog. Her name is Chloe. Chloe is prone to go outside, use the bathroom, have a good time, sniff like a dog, be a dog. But she has the dog mind and consciousness that I'm hungry, or I want to eat, or I need a snack, or I may have something going on. I might eat some grass, whatever. But Chloe is a dog that will go out and possibly get into something. And that something could be toxic for her body. As long as it has the smell or whatever behavior that I have as a dog to eat that item, I will eat it. Recently, she ate something. And all of a sudden, she had to eat something. But all of a sudden, we had a dog that was pooping and couldn't stop pooping blood. Whatever it was, it made her sick as a dog. And she threw up like a dog everywhere. She pooped blood. We become more concerned with her. And I just began to review some of my thoughts. I had a thought of just dealing with dogs and dogs, right? Doing all kinds of stuff with the dogs, for the dogs. And we bought them essentially for our kids. And so trying to push our kids to actually function with these, do stuff with the dogs. So I've been pushing more. The kids are older and the dogs are 9 and 10. And so, I told my wife, man, I'm done with these dogs. In a sense and context of like, man, this is some boom. In the sense that it's like you're dealing with it and you know that you got it for the kids and you want your kids to work. That's just that whole dynamic of being a human being. The dog, that's sick. And I said that. So instantly I took it back. Because now we'll get into a deep level of energy and the words having some level of power, and the words and your belief system going into believing and understanding that your thoughts and your practices can actually change the trajectory of your life. It can change the way things are manifested in your life. It can change the way your life unfolds when you can begin to understand and have the ability, which you do have the ability, to change your thoughts and realize your thoughts and be able to begin to shift your reality on this planet today. The whole goal and why you are watching is the fact that you want to, need to, and must change your reality. And you must and you want to change your reality here on this planet, because I am doing that now. And I'm allowing myself to express myself and what I feel and what I know for myself and what I know that may benefit and help you live on this planet. Rich, poor, famous, not famous, successful, not feeling successful. Two different things. You can be successful and not feel successful. You could be successful to a lot of people and not feel. You could be unsuccessful in the sense that you're able to survive this planet because other people can and are, and some of us have certain levels of struggles. Believe me, I have mine. but I'm beginning to adapt, adopt, understand, and just be with mine. One of the things I know I must do, and that is I must communicate this message to you, because it feels wonderful that out of all the things when it comes to what you believe, know this. Us as a species here on planet Earth, one thing I know here on planet Earth is that we are here and a lot of us are surviving at various different levels, various different spaces, whether it be from our parents or our own actions in which we have learned to accommodate our being on this planet, the physical being, that is. Deal with it, understand it, not to get in trouble with it. The human ego is very powerful. We must live with it. We must learn to balance it. We must learn to understand it. But one thing we can understand for sure is that what we need is a deeper understanding to love. We need to believe and understand love. And how do you understand love when you really don't love yourself? Loving yourself by loving others. Love yourself by being okay. And understand there's 8 billion people on the planet. There's going to be all kinds of different things that we're dealing with. But going beyond belief, that's a tough one. When I say beyond belief, it's not just openly saying that I don't have belief. But beyond belief is taking what I do believe and asking the question, is what I believe adds to or subtracts to the quality of my life? What I believe, what you believe, does it add to or subtract to the quality of your life? And how does it? Because a lot of times what we believe is nothing but what we've been told to believe. And when we begin to ask questions about what we believe and begin to research and begin to get into other things about our belief systems, we can get questioned, we can get shunned out, we could become financially strapped. Like, it could really rock people's worlds. When you say, I believe something and I want to change the way I believe, especially if you've been into a Christian or various organization, say Christian a lot, because that's what I relate to. It's what I come from. That's what I know something about. And I believe a lot of the Abrahamic faiths, in similarity, Islam and Christianity, Christianity is one that you're not necessarily born into and pushed to become it. You're pushed to, but it's not part of your, automatic. I think Islam is automatic. You have a kid, it's very similar, I guess. You're going to go to a Muslim school. But in the Islamic countries, not in America, is what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. In the Islamic countries like Saudi Arabia, like, it's part of the laws. Which Christianity is still somewhat part of our laws. But we're doing everything to change that and not make it where you're forced to believe in a deity all of life that may be something you don't want to, where you're forced. And if you don't, then we're not going to burn you at the stake. We're not going to do some of the ill things that we've done in the past, but people can be pretty harsh. People can be pretty harsh. Beyond belief. Such powerful words. Expanding consciousness. Is it expanding or is it expanded in the quantum realm? Off to the next thing. Hey, what's up? Life Coach Malachi here. I want to welcome you to my channel. I do a Thursday night live at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I explore various topics. I have different guests. I really enjoy doing this. I was once with Bishop Carlton Pearson here recently as a co-host and coaching, consulting, various different aspects with him. I've worked with. I met him through Wayman Tisdale. Such profound times in my life. I worked with various different people in those calibers. But one of the things that I admire and think is pretty neat is that I got to experience something and I want to live that experience, and I want to begin to do what I do, what I learned, and share it to you. If you want to go beyond belief and question those things, philosophy, spirituality, metaphysics, manifestation, meditation, vibration, liberation. That's me. Going beyond belief, expanding consciousness that has been expanded in the quantum. Tap in, tune in, turn up, turn down, turn out, turn in. Peace.